Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of my GWR Remembrance service on Train Simulator. Now, as you know, we've ended the first part with our arrival into Exeter St David's. Now we'll be continuing on our journey to Bristol Temple Meads with Dr. Taunton. And yes, I'm still driving this HST named Harry Patch. And I've got everything set up yet again. Just get the DS deactivated again. We're now ready for the off. And that, if you're wondering, that's the sound of the level crossings, letting the cars know that the train is coming. To be honest, I really don't know how they work with how they know when the train is coming. Mustn't forget about that. The DSD. And over there in the distance, we can see the Exeter St David's sidings. And if I can zoom in a little bit, you can notice that train over there is parked up in one of the sidings. Well, basically that sleek train over there is a Class 800. It's one of the new trains recently seen on the national network. You see it in its GWR livery. I mean, I've seen one of these when I was down in Devon. I think I remember seeing a few of them when we were navigating around Bristol, because my dad's just actually got us lost. We'll soon be getting them Class 800s on the East Coast Main Line. They'll be called the Azumas. I still remember seeing one of them at the East Coast Generations event at York Station. It was with like the Class 91, the HST, like the one I'm driving, and also Flying Scotsman, the world's most famous steam locomotive. And oh yeah, the yard was also the same setting where I had my Great Western Castle reunion, which was to celebrate 95 years of the locomotive's introduction. I recall I had like 8 preserved castles together, including like Cavilly Castle, Pendennis Castle, Lenny Castle, also Clun Castle, a few others. Take it from me, the Great Western Castles were like the backbone of the GWR system. Not to mention the fact that they've also run up and down around Devon. Also about the HSTs, basically. Well, these trains have been in service since like 1976, and they're so successful and still in service today. And also during that time they were. Before they came about, they were meant. I think that by the time they came about, they were, meant to be a stopgap for British Rail's advanced passenger train project. But now, unfortunately, got withdrawn in 1985. And also in the late 1980s, 8 of these power cars were converted into driving van trailers to work with the Class 91 electric locos. The reason why was basically because the purpose-built DVTs and the then new Mark IV coaches were not completed in time for testing for the 91s to begin. I think after all the testing was completed, those buffered power cars re-entered normal service. Then they were operated by like Virgin cross-country about privatization until they were restored. And and then they were later acquired by Grand Central, who operated them till 2017, and are now seen with another train operating company, East Midlands Trains. And that's about it, basically. Annoying the DSD, but if you don't want it on all the time, you can isolate it. But and again, it would be illegal to disable that safety feature in the real world. Kind of reminds me of when I played on Microsoft Train Simulator. There was that feature that enabled you to turn the alerting system on and off, which had only worked on like American trains, like the Acela Express and also the BNSF-9s. I think that also would work on the Acela HHP8, another train from Amtrak. Also, if you're wondering what route we're on the Bristol to Exeter route by Just Trains. Mind you, I was originally going to do it on the Western Main Lines, but I'm not too sure if it's stable enough for Train Simulator 2019 with all the assets there, like for example the buildings around Paddington and Cardiff Central and all that. Oh, you may notice already there, I should have mentioned this earlier, we're currently restricted at 100 miles per hour for the remainder of our journey to Bristol. It's very reasonable enough speed, but what can you do, eh? And I think on my right over there is basically the dual carriageway. I mean, you can see the rails right there, but that separates the dual carriageways. It's just mainly to prevent the cars from turning like left or right. I mean, what would you do if you've forgotten something if you're on the dual carriageway? You know, like for example, if you left something at home, say like your wallet or say like, I don't know, your passport if you're going abroad. Imagine if somebody, and then they realise they left their iPad at home. I mean, come on, I would never do that when I travel. I mean, I always take my electronics with me. Yeah, we'll be ending up seeing. Who would have thought we would be ending up seeing double-decker buses along the journey? As long as there be no mummies larking about, you know, like that scene in The Mummy Returns. Not to mention they wrecked like Rick O'Connell's car. was quite funny seeing that when he was all like, "Oh no, 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 not my car!" I mean, imagine that happened in like Sonic, where when he's like jumped on his plane, Sonic would be all like, "No, no, no, not my plane!" Yeah, I've enjoyed the Mummy films. But if you want to experience like also if you remember, I remember in like Universal Orlando, there's like, oh yeah, there was like the Mummy ride in like Universal Studios Orlando, or Islands of Adventure, which is in Florida. I still remember seeing that bit where we got to the end and there was like those scarab beetles coming all over me, and like I was all like, "Ah, come on me! I don't want to be eaten by them!" I mean, you should see. I mean, you should see the scarabs in the first Mummy movie, where they were like these flesh-eating beetles. And not to mention the fact they surrounded like Benny, and the guy who got trapped after activating one of the traps. Spoiler alert. I mean, if you want to watch that, I would advise tracking down a DVD copy of The Mummy as well as The Mummy Returns. Did you see that? That Doppelganger bus just appeared out of nowhere! I think it's like its driver thinks he's on a night bus or something. Well, the night bus is like a triple-decker bus, you know, from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Not to mention the driver of that was real crazy. Not to mention there was a shrunken head on board. I also remember that conductor who played presumably by like Lee Evans. We've now got 15 miles to go to Taunton. Excuse me, just burped. Well, better out than in. Now passing through Tiverton Parkway Station. And so anyway, about what I was mentioning about train rides at like Cornwall, I remember going back to Camborne on the HSTs, you know, from the first Great Western colours. Mind you, when I went on one of the Mark III coaches, it had like its interior was like in the style of what you often see on aeroplanes. I mean, take for example, if you go to like Japan or something, you go on on the bullet trains, you often see the interior in the shape of aeroplanes. Not to mention the drivers often dress up as like airline pilots. And also the Class 800 we saw earlier is basically like our version of the Shinkansen. Like strictly to fit. I think it's quite like they're like smaller than the bullet trains, so it can fit within our loading gauge. Like it, mind you, they look quite small for like Japanese standards, but I guess they had to be if they were going to fit within the British loading gauge. barely 10 miles to Taunton, and Devon is way far behind us. And now that I think about Devon, it's often like ideal for holiday makers who live in the north of England. Maybe I would recommend that to somebody in foreign lands. To explore the wonders of South, like Devon and Cornwall, or nah. Yes, we got downhill gradients again to worry about, which means we have to use the brakes to control our speed. I still think traveling on GWR is basically big. I think traveling on GWR is a lot cheaper, I think, than the other train operating companies. I guess train travel in Spain is a lot cheaper. But then here in the UK, I mean, fares can be expensive at times. Well, you did notice that the train bounced around a little bit. I mean, imagine that happened in real life. I mean, imagine if you were like traveling on this with the way, part of the way it throws the train about, like a PTG rail already mentioned. Because if you were traveling on that with the way it throws the train about, it won't be able to stay on the track. You know, if the track was in this condition. I mean, it's his words, not mine. Hey, you can see an airplane up there in the sky. Don't know if you can see it clearly, but let's not bother with that. Mind you, if you want to fly airplanes, go on a flight simulator. Or get a job as an airline pilot. And what am I saying? If you... If you want to become like an aircraft or an airline pilot, go get some like training on like simulator or flying lessons. Now got 4 miles to Taunton. According to the HUD. Mind you, I should leave the no HUD experience to PTG Rail. I mean, he's an expert on that. see a flashing yellow signal ahead. I get ready for speed reduction now. Before I approach to Taunton. I'll just let it coast a bit until... I think I'll put the brakes on lightly. And you can see that other line there. I think that line on my left is one that the line that connects to the West Somerset Railway, between like Bishop's Lydiard and Minehead. We're not that far off. Taunton. Put the brakes on a bit lightly. And until, gee, it's hard to judge the stopping distance to Taunton or any station in the UK. Apologize for the lagging frame rate. I don't want to slow down too early. Just need to control my approach just a bit smoothly. Oh, that wasn't so bad, was it? Well, now's a good chance to use the brakes a lot. Approaching to Taunton. Yeah, this is Taunton Station. Other stations have not stopped that, even in real life, really. I can't imagine myself doing a lot of travelling. Okay, I need to judge where to stop. I think I should stop right about here, I think. There we go, approaching to Taunton. Now let me unload the passengers off. I'll see you in a bit later. Now, departing from Totnes, our current speed limit is still 60 miles per hour, and we've got 44 miles to our next and final stop for this journey, which is Bristol Temple Meads. Oh, excuse me, just burped again, and hiccuped at the same time. you've noticed here already, we're now back to double tracks, which I think will be the remainder of our journey up to Bristol. Actually, at some point we'll be finding the route that goes to like Weston-super-Mare. I mean, I'll probably point it out as we go along. The way to find that is on the map. You can see on my left here there's like a farm, look like a farm, and some football fields. I mean, that could be ideal for kids playing football and they see trains going by. Imagine them being interrupted halfway through a football match. I really can't see that happening. Let me know if you saw a train going by during like a football session. I mean, seriously, again, who leaves planks of wood on the railway line? Oh yeah, if you notice on my speedometer already, we're soon now going up to 100 miles per hour. And look at that line, that track there you may notice to my right, where it goes uphill and possibly downhill. Whereas if we look on the map, if I can find it, I think that's the line that, like, that's the line of that line. Those double lines on my right go like directly to Reading. So that I think that's used for like cross-country trains, which saves them going all the way to Bristol and then down to Didcot and then on to Reading. Why is there? Sometimes it interrupts me when I'm rubbing my eyes. Sorry, just farted. Well, I don't know if you could hear that. Enough about that. Guys, you can see some sheep along the way. And some cows. nothing else besides like the scenery. Oh, just in time. Yeah, that's a cross-country Voyager that I put in this bit on its way to Plymouth. And I think I've added another train, which is like another HST that we'll be seeing in a few moments. Oh yeah, we'll soon be passing through Bridgewater Station. You can see it up here coming up. And there's like the sidings over there, but I didn't put any of the freight trains over there. Mind you, cross country goes all the way around the national network, say like on the operate on like the East Coast main line and like down, all the way down south. And they also operate up to Scotland. So like Edinburgh and also Glasgow. And then down south they goes down to like Exeter, St David's and Paignton, Plymouth and also Penzance. And anyway, we've now got 31 miles to go to Bristol. Yeah, but you saw that truck parked back. That truck parked there earlier. I mean, that's not a good site to do some train spotting near the tracks. I mean, I would prefer doing that at a safe distance. We'll soon be getting the speed up to 110 miles per hour. You see there's another HST right here. That's one for Penzance. Oh, the power car you saw there was like an old Oak Common Reskin that I found on like Trainsimdesigns. And that was also the same one I remember seeing when I was down in Cornwall. I don't know how many coaches I did put on there, but I did put like, I don't know, 5 or 7, but I can't be bothered to count the coaches really. Mind you, I've got like 7 or 8 coaches on my train. now passing through Highbridge and Burnham 2. Highbridge and Burnham Station. Oh, I was too late to sound the horn. But that doesn't matter. That bridge looks quite low there. Again. I mean, what is it with this country and its loading gauge? Sometimes these whistle boards just go by quickly. I couldn't be bothered to react in time. Excuse me again. I don't know if you can see here that looks like a trailer park or a lodge park. I mean, come on, who would have a holiday park near a railway line? I mean, I know the only examples for that is like around Devon. You know, around Dawlish and that. We've now got 24 miles to Bristol. Wait till you see the station at Bristol Temple Meads. I thought it looked like a poster attached on that wall, but I can't be able to see that because I'm driving. And looky here, we have a road next to a railway line. I mean, how would you compete with railways and road travel? Mind you, back in the day, railways were the main form of transport until like war broke out, and by the time the railways were nationalised, the car industry was like booming, which means that BR had to plan its modernisation system. So their plan was to replace dirty steam engines with efficient diesel and electric locomotives. Oh yeah, we got a speed reducing to 100 miles per hour, unfortunately. Oh, look at that, we're in rock territory. I mean, I hate to think what would happen if one of those rocks fell on the railway line. It would have to mean train services might be like delayed, or it means that train services will have to be like, I don't know, cancelled or running late. Gee, I can see some big lamps over there, which is like something ideal for like, you know, for football games, or rugby for that matter. Yeah, I remember going down to Wigan to watch like rugby matches with like Wigan against like likes of Leeds Rhino and all that. I always wanted them to win. Well, I used to do rugby when I was in school, but I had to stop doing it because it seemed like getting all dirty and that. Well, I guess there's a point of that, really. I think rugby is like our version of American football. Mind you, I don't know if I'd like to try American football at some point. I mean, I'm quite good at passing the ball to my teammates. As long as I need to avoid scoring for the other team. Who else could make that mistake, eh? Crane Simulator, anybody? Well, look at these coloured houses that we just passed. I mean, what do you think this is? Balamori? We're now passing through Royal Station. How do you say that? Some of these stations in southern England have weird names. Unfortunately, our speed is 100 miles per hour for the remainder of our journey up to Bristol, and we've now got 14 miles to go to it. I mean, it didn't seem that long since I left Taunton. I mean, didn't we already pass Weston-super-Mare? Oh yeah, we already passed that. Didn't have time to. Should have mentioned that earlier. I mean, Weston-super-Mare is where me and my mum and dad stopped as long as a couple of family friends, for our journey down to Cornwall. Oh, I hate to tell you what it was like down there, with all the traffic on the motorways where we got held up. There was just a few delays. Kind of reminds me when we went down to Oxford between Christmas and the New Year. I mean, I quite liked it there because I've been to I like the Natural History Museum. And what else did I do? Oh yeah, I've been to the prison museum. And to be honest, I think I've been through their cells, I think, which basically kind of reminds me of the time I've been to Alcatraz when I was in San Francisco. I suppose you've all heard of Alcatraz. That basically that prison island. And the next station we're passing is Yaton. Yaton, that kind of reminds me of Yakon off of Dragon Ball Z, one of Barbady's minions. Except he's like this big monster who's like, I don't know how to describe him. He's kind of like a big monstrous like toad, but without the croakiness. Anyway, back to Alcatraz. I remember being on that in the Hulk video game from 2003, where you have to sneak through the island without getting caught by the guards or the spotlights. Don't even get me started with the spotlights. I mean, it's like each time you walk into the spotlights in that game, it basically alerts the guards to your current whereabouts. Not to mention they almost sound like stormtroopers off of Star Wars. Mind you, it'd be funny to have stormtroopers patrolling Alcatraz. I mean, can you imagine me playing or dressed up as a stormtrooper? Not to mention sounding like one. We've now got 10 miles to go to Bristol, or it'll soon be 9 miles, according to what we see on the HUD. Mind you, if you want the no HUD experience, I suggest going on to PTG Rail's YouTube channel, where he does like all the route learning videos on like Train Simulator and also Train Sim World. You know, there's one video where he did the full run down the East Coast main line from between Edinburgh and King's Cross on four sections of the East Coast main line. He's driven the Class 91, the Battle of Britain Memorial flight on the rear. Oh, he was driving the DVT on the south end of the journey. Not to mention the Battle of Britain Memorial flight 91 was one I used in my IRF 100 service and also my Remembrance event from last year. You might have seen it in my other videos before, like I drove Mallard up along to York from London King's Cross. And now passing through Nailsea and Backwell Station. Now where was I? Oh yeah. Anyway, PTG Rail did like this full run of the on like the Just Trains Newcastle to Edinburgh route. Or in that bit he had to turn down the graphic settings like halfway through between Dunbar and Berwick on Tweed. But because the route was known for being demanding on powerful PC systems, not to mention sometimes makes Train Simulator crash out due to out of memory errors, especially due to the 32-bit limitations it had. Well, since we now got the 64-bit, we probably don't have to worry about crash dumps. As long as you set everything up properly though. And then the next one he did was like Newcastle to York on the TP Simulation East Coast route. And after that it was a Creative Rail York to Peterborough mod route. And then there was a Dovetail Games London to Peterborough route where we went all the way down to London King's Cross. Mind you, if I want to do that at some point, sometimes I would prefer to starting off with York and make my way down to London. Maybe I could probably recreate some of the train rides. Maybe one day I could recreate the train rides on the Train Simulator. Like for example, my steam train rides around like the Dartmouth Steam Railway, where I've been on King Edward II and Braveheart. And I'll do a Braveheart on like the return trip up to Paynton, and I'll do King Edward II down to like Kingswear. I mean, come on, it's not often I recreate my train ride experiences on Train Simulator. Maybe one day I'd like to. And basically you notice here the speed is going down to 90 miles per hour. Which is a good thing I've let the throttle up to let the train coast. But the gradient is not steep enough to make us accelerate. Okay, now it's a good time to apply the brakes. I think this is like the same thing you get on the in-cab signaling system on really high-speed trains like the Javelin, and possibly on the Chinese high-speed trains, and also the Japanese bullet trains as well. And also the same thing on the TGVs in France. Don't know if you get the same thing as the ones in Spain. We've got some yellow signals coming up. Oh yeah, with the single yellow I need to apply the brakes because I'm not too sure if the next signal up ahead is red. Oopsie. Should not have done that. Oh yeah, the speed's going down to like 35 miles per hour, which means we need to be prepared. There's a speed restriction. I mean, I bet the passengers would be wondering what is going on and why we're slowing down. Let's see what the signal ahead is. Oh, it's basically red. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we got permission to pass the danger. Well, normally you have to stop at red signals due to like trains in the way or any oncoming trains. But since I've got permission to pass, oh yeah, it's going to look like I'm going nowhere. If I keep the brakes on. Yeah, the AWS horn only goes up when you're approaching the signals that are like yellow or red, like for example this one. I think I've now got permission to pass a danger. It's a good thing I'm not conducting this thing called SPAD, which I don't know what that stands for, but I mean, oh yeah, it stands for signal past a danger. We will soon be passing through Parsons Street Station. I think that means we have to cross on the wrong side of the tracks, I think. See what you see? What I mean? According to the points, I don't know why sometimes do that. It's like approaching Dunbar Station on the East Coast. Oh, it's 25 miles per hour, not 35. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, I think that'll probably be our speed for approaching to Bristol Temple Meads. It kind of reminds me of driving trains in America. Well, you know, American trains drive on the right side of the tracks. Also, the Spanish ones do that as well, driving on the right side of the tracks. You remember on like my, I don't know, my 9/11 excursion, I've driven the GS4 4449 on the right side of the tracks, and sometimes on the left. I think I did the same thing with the Polar Express last year. Not too sure if I'd like to do that again, but for this Christmas I might probably do a Santa special on UK heritage lines. Oh, we're going back to 25 again. I mean, can't see any speed limits on this part. I better let the train coast for the time being. Or not. We're now passing through Bedminster Station. Ooh. Oh. Wait, this is our final station to pass before Bristol Temple Meads. Anyway, notice speed is speed on the speedometer is flashing at 25. I believe I can see... You can see the bridge right over there, which means we're nearly there. I think that's the bridge I remember passing when we went down to Devon. Oh yeah! Now you're hearing it. Now you're hearing the overspeed warning on the automatic train protection. It means that we're speeding. We have to slow down to that recommended speed. Oh great, now what? Great, now we're stuck here. Don't worry, I'll catch up with you in a bit. Hey guys, sorry I'm a bit back. As you notice, I'm nearly up to a bit where we're about 2 miles now to Bristol, and we're dropping back down to 25 miles per hour again. So, you know, I had to start halfway back to Taunton again. At least that gave me time to catch up. I think I'll keep the speed at 25 miles per hour for the time being. Because this is the part where it gets you. Passing through Parsons Street Station yet again. I think I'll keep it at 25 for the time being until we get to Bristol. I don't get why this part tends to get you with the speed. Well, in the meantime, while we're doing 25, I might have a look at the houses. Look at that. Aren't they just magnificent? These big ones. Those big ones can be ideal as my dream house, my dream homes. I think that's overseas for like anyone who's like having a ride in the cab or something. Yeah, this is where it gets you when you're on this bit, with the speed. I would imagine I'm keeping it at 25 miles per hour until we get to Bristol. So things will go right this time. To get it up to 25. these platforms tend to go underground, like if there's a subway. Yeah, not to mention that London has like its own subways called the London Underground. I mean, I've enjoyed going on the tube trains. That's one of the unique things about London. Like if you compare it to the subways in like, I mean, I like to see you compare that to the subways in New York. Anyway, you can still see the bridge, which means that we're nearly there at Bristol Temple Meads. I think I didn't notice a sign there that says 25. Let's hope I can get through there without any hiccups. Oh, you can see the signs near the signals that says it means there's no AWS ramps along here. Kind of like the same thing you get at Edinburgh Waverley up in Scotland. Now let's just coast for a bit until we get close enough to the station. Here it is! That's Bristol Temple Meads! Doesn't it? Magnificent with its roof. Still kind of like their version of York Station, except with the through lines. Except York Station doesn't have through lines anymore. It's because the track rail's been changed because of the overhead wires. But its historic roof currently remains intact. It remains as it is since it was first built. Now I need to find somewhere good enough to stop. We conclude this part of our journey. Oh, hiccuped again. I think it should be a correct stopping point. Wait for it. And now. Oh, what a journey that is, on this Remembrance service. This is where we're going to conclude our journey, unfortunately. And where we're going to see this train heading off to Paddington Station. I'd like to thank you all for watching this Remembrance service. And I will see you all next time.